Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of In the Pit with Lobo Tigre. Our victim of the day is Terry Filbert. He's the CEO of East Asia Minerals. And as usual, we'll let Terry, our esteemed victim here, give us the overview. But I do want to say just real quick, the Independent Speculator, your full-service research firm, is not taking time off during the tumultuous times with the virus outbreak. We are working safely from home. So don't worry about us. We're here for you. I just wanted to put that quick blurb in there. Your Independent Speculator is still kicking rocks virtually on your behalf here. So here we are, strange times. Terry, you've got an interesting story to tell, so why don't you give us the overview, and then I'll get into my questions.
Great, Lobo. Well, thank you very much for inviting us. East Asia Minerals Corporation has been around since 2005. I came in around 2017. I came in with I had actually started this without the idea that I was going to be part of East Asia. I was trying to buy Sangihe from the company, from my own. We actually had a mine that I was mining up in area called, in North Sulawesi, Indonesia, area called Mesel, which is where Newmont had taken about 20 tons out of gold, basically back in 1997. I think is when they finished off. But there's still a lot of area around there that has good low-grade gold, and we were doing a heap leach there. I actually had a fight with my Australian partner and decided, since I was the one that set the entire project up, I'd take my toys, go someplace else. And so I had a team of 50 guys. A couple of them worked illegally on this mine in Sangihe. And so I basically approached East Asia. They said they were interested in selling the project. It was a great price. They hadn't done anything on it for years. And so we paid some money, did a contract with them, about to close. Then the CEO at the time decided, nah, we got another offer. We like that better. Problem is he'd already committed to us. So I talked to I looked for the shareholders. CEO had no shares. Found out the company named Tocqueville. Okay, I understand. I've been living in Asia for 35 years. I don't really know anyone in North America. So Tocqueville Asset Management meant nothing to me. I just knew that they had 40% of the company. So I called New York. New York says, you got to talk to a guy named John Hathaway. Again, no clue who this guy is. So give me his phone number. They said, okay, well, he's not here. So where's he at? He's in Aspen. Well, when's he come back on holiday? He lives there. Okay. We'll give you his phone number. They gave the phone number. Call him. He said, well, tell me about what you do. So I'm here. I'm mining, not far away. Same gold reef, same materials. And he said, well, you want to come and see? I said, where are you? I said, I'm here back in Washington trying to figure out how to fix this thing. If I have to sue these guys or not. So why don't you come down and see me? So flew down to Eagle, Colorado. He picked me up at the airport in this cute little Maserati. And we had, some nice drinks. And after he listened to my sorry tale, I said, well, we don't like management either. They've kind of screwed the thing. I thought, why don't you take over the whole thing? What do you mean take the whole thing? Take over the public company. I don't do public companies. I just want to buy the asset. And he said, well, you can buy all our stock. Or basically, we'll support you if you want to take over the company. Brought in a fundraiser, and he said, yeah, we want you to raise money in the public markets. That'd be great. So, and keep Tocqueville in there. So, they said, don't buy their stock out. So they gave me a really good pitch why I should take over a public company. My wife liked it. So I got kind of stuck, raising money for a public company. We took over the company, paid off the other management to leave, and tried to fix everything. The main thing that Tocqueville wanted was, can you fix Miwah? And I said, well, try. I didn't know about Miwah. Okay. When I started saying, I had only heard about Miwah as I started buying this asset, heard they had this other asset called Miwah, and it didn't sound really positive. So I basically didn't. It was an Aceh, which I didn't have any contacts in Aceh. All my contacts are in North. Like the governor, heads of different police departments, head of the mine department. I can fix problems there. So when John Hathaway asked, "Can you fix me?" Well, so I will try. No guarantees, but if it can be done, I'll do it. So that's how I got started into this thing. Basically,
all right, sorry. Let me jump in there, Terry, because you're assuming a familiarity with the assets in the company and the audience, and some of my audience has been with me for a long time, and they do remember painfully the Miwah story, but other people don't. They're going to be new to the story. So let me just say that East Asia was a former market darling. In a previous market cycle, stock went meteoric up on spectacular drill results from this other project. Now the other project called Miwah. And then, both the markets turned and the company put out an initial resource estimate that really disappointed a lot of people, and the stock fell off a cliff. Obviously, it was struggling since then. If it was available for takeover, and if John Hathaway helped you out, now that story makes a lot more sense to me. So that's sort of the history. Was actually the company was previously focused on this other asset, Miwah, and Sangihe was just sort of also in the portfolio.
Right.
But that was actually your interest in why you took over. So the company has pivoted under new management. And so, tell us what it is you like about Sangihe and what it is you hope to do.
Oh, Sangihe is wonderful. I mean, basically, okay, remember, I'm a small operator. I mean, it's all my money goes in, I make all the profit. And so I'm looking for projects that are very quickly, put into production. I'm not an explorer, basically I'm not, going to go out there and drill lots of holes. So basically, if I can find a project which is already, can be put into production quickly because there's enough detail to show me that. They had done they had two 43-101s when I looked at this. One, which was 2010, which showed between their two, there's two, I guess mining assets. One is called Binibas and then is Bawani. They're basically about a kilometer from each other. And the 2010, they'd actually had several drilling holes historical drilling holes, I understand, between these two ore bodies. The two ore bodies, Binibas and Bawani, they basically had a large concentration, but they also, and that's where most of the holes had been drilled. But between the two, they found that they had enough drill holes that would say they had 835, I think it was 835,000 around there, 835,000 ounces of inferred resource. And so that was interesting, but I don't like inferred that much because, again, I wanted something I can guarantee I can get into production. So yeah, it was interesting. So I didn't really get me hot and bothered. But then I found they had another drilling program in 2013, and then the 4101 from that one, and that one basically showed a indicated of 119, and of that there was actually of oxides. There's 58,000 ounces of oxide at surface in a pit, which was perfect. I mean, there's just there is maybe a couple, not even a couple, probably 1 to 2 meters of overburden. And in this area, actually, the neat thing of when you walk around Sangihe, they've got around 240 square kilometers of gold-bearing land. Anywhere from several grams to a quarter gram, but you can't dig anywhere there without finding some gold. So basically, of course, I had up in the other area I've been working with Radatuktuk. We always worked at Radatuktuk. We had about 18 hectares we were working, and we had basically a gram, running around a gram a ton. And for our heap leach pad, that was perfect. And so basically, and we're doing only heap leaching. So this one had a pit of that 1 gram, plus they have some little areas of the pit which had 2 to 3 grams a ton. So and it was indicated. So basically, that's what got me really excited, because for me as a small operator, I can get that at 1,000 ounces a month. That's going to be 5 years for 1,000 ounces a month. I can live on that. So basically, and my cost in Radatuktuk is running around 500 an ounce. This, because an island offshore, might be slightly more, maybe $700 an ounce, because you have to get stuff in and out, so the cost a little higher. But and the energy cost a little higher because, again, you have to get diesel in and out. So this looked really, really profitable from what I wanted. As I did more research on it, as I learned more about it, between these two ore bodies, if you drill those out, the 850,000 or 835,000 ounces becomes measured and indicated. And actually, and how the area we have it's all at surface. So you're talking, you only need to drill about maybe deep as 180 meters, average 150 meters. And most of the stuff, at least in this pit we have, is going to be 60 meters, from the surface. In the top 20, 25 meters is oxides, maybe 10 mixed, another 20, another 20 down below is going to be sulfides. So a lot of that area across this entire, this is a collapsed caldera. So a lot of this entire area is the same type of a anomaly. So this is what got me really excited. 1, I can be in production quickly. 2, it's low cost production. 3, because I'm a cheap guy, it's going to be low capex. I mean, it's always your own money. That's how you think. basically it's going to be on this. If you're talking about shareholders' money, it's new to me. I only can think it's my money. So I'm going to basically be cheap. I'm going to cut every corner I can find. I'm going to stay within regulations, but I'm going to make sure that we basically have a good margin. And so with that, you can get into production and into cash very quickly. Number two, we have a large upside to drill out to bring in a lot more ounces. Now, just in the fourth one I told you about, those 835,000 ounces, you bring that into indicated and measured. At the same time, this anomaly goes onto the coast of a kilometer. Because they didn't have drill holes there, they didn't do a report there. But from what our geologist, a former Barrick geologist who worked for Barrick for 8 years, Frank Roca, he's our qualified person. He says anomaly goes straight onto the coast, under the water, over that little island. And so if we drill out just to the coast, we think we can pull in 1 million ounces just to the coast. Now, we're talking out of the 240 square kilometers, maybe 4 square kilometers we're drilling on. So we have a lot of areas still to basically drill. And this is of the gold bearing. We have about 420 square kilometer area that our COW, or contract of works, covers. And that's the other thing this thing's cool about. The thing that really got me hot and bothered was contract of works. They don't exist anymore in Indonesia.
Actually, Terry, let's come back to the contract of works, because I think most people aren't familiar with Indonesian mining law and how the contract of works costs. But let's go back to the resource and then come back to those in a minute.
Sure.
I get it. There's plenty of potential there, but you're really looking at putting the oxide portion into production. And so that's just going to be the top bit. And is it, do you have a sense of how deep the oxidation goes, and is it throughout? Is it consistent? Of those 800,000 or maybe million ounces or whatever arm waving number you want to put on it, how much of those will be heap leachable? Because if the sulfides aren't going to leach, then that's a whole different project.
Yeah, the sulfides haven't. We've looked at the sulfides. We've done some tests with sulfides. Sulfides really haven't been looked at how to maximize the sulfides. Okay, so we haven't looked how if it can be cost effective to basically lease the sulfides. We believe it can, but we just haven't done the work there.
Right. So the current project is just the oxides.
Correct. So basically, across the entire island, you're going to have oxides on the upper level, even across the center. So out of the 825,000 ounces, we're figuring these 30% of those will be oxides, maybe 40. Let's say 30 to basically be conservative. And then basically, if we keep drilling this out along, along to the coast, that will be added on top of that as well. So, there's the oxide. To give you an idea, also, we have around, I don't know how many illegals we have now. There's illegals all over this property. Luckily, they're not in the area where we're going to be doing mining because there's no water to basically process. So basically, they're down south of our property, which basically there's the Tuari Valley and the Tuari River. They have water to use for processing. They use heat. They're using sluice boxes mostly, and they take out all the visible gold they can find. They're releasing probably around 5 kilos a month. How we know this because they're each trying to get an ounce each. Okay, so I count how many miners we have, and I figure how much. But the same. They're mining in areas we didn't think about. We're seeing holes and stuff or places where I asked our geologists, have we looked at the hill over there? They've been there for 3 months. And they got to be taking stuff out there. So there are a lot of areas to still explore. They barely touched the surface on this mine, on this project. So basically, the area I told you about, we think is 1 million. South of that, there's many more. Basically, but it has to be, and there have been some rock samples taken, but and there's some good results off of it, but there's been no detailed exploration done. And again, right now where we do drilling out and bring that in quickly, but at the same time, as a long-term program, do more detailed exploration and drilling, in the rest of the project.
I've seen places before where the illegals were basically free prospecting for the company that had the mineral license. They're doing for us. Where their ability to really dig in and remove significant amount of materials was constrained. I've also seen places where that got out of hand, and the management was. I actually went on a field trip once where they were telling me this. The part of the pitch was, the illegals, they can only scratch the surface, and they're showing us all these new veins, and we went to go look, and those guys had trucks, they had dynamite, they were blasting, they had jack legs. And they were going really deep on some of these veins, much to management's surprise. I didn't buy that stock. But But I get it. I mean, it's still fairly early stage.
They're doing like small, like 1,000 ton heap leach pads. They're doing. I mean, I've never seen any heavy equipment. They're not supposed to use heavy equipment. Because they attract too much attention. When they start using heavy equipment, then the police kick them off. But basically, they're using wheelbarrows, picks and shovels. Like I said, sluice boxes. And they make sluice boxes out of bamboo, which I never saw that before. I thought it was kind of cool. I have to learn that myself.
But they get very creative. But so here's my question. I mean, you've got this thin layer of oxide. Maybe it's big, but looking over your corporate presentation, it looks like you're gung ho to get these 58,000 ounces you've got in your starter pit going right away. And listening to your talk, you're talking about getting the cash flow quickly. I mean, there's a conventional wisdom in the industry: go big or go home. Why would you want to start with 100,000 ounces or 1,000 ounces a month? That's kind of mom and pop. Why not drill off a big resource?
I'm not that much above on the illegals, I guess. 1,000 ounces a month to me is basically, especially today's price. Probably love this price today. Is going. I mean, with my cost about $1,000, free cash flow per ounce. It's $1 million a month. $1 million a month to me, basically, I can do my drilling program at the same time, still have cash flow to expand the project. Then I can bring it up to 2,000 ounces a month really quickly. Then my goal is with the drilling to bring it to 4,000 ounces a month within a couple of years. Basically all on cash flow. You get to remember, I'm a type of guy that builds stuff out of cash flow because I had to, because it was my money. Okay, so I'm still working the way. I mean, I'm not from the big mining side. I'm more close to the illegals. I'm the guy that goes in there with the project and stuff. Now, I will get the right licensing and such like that, but I'm working more the way they think than basically, and they can do stuff really cost effectively.
Okay, but
I know to do the processing, artisanally. I know how to do a lot of things artisanally.
I understand, and I get the bootstrap idea, and if you can get to cash flow and then drill off much larger resources without diluting shareholders, that's a good thing. On the other hand, the shareholders, most of them, they don't care about whether you're mining or not or how pretty the trucks are. They just want the share price to go up.
Yep.
And so, 1,000 ounces a month, even 4,000 ounces a month, that's not really big enough to matter. They want to see hundreds of thousands of ounces added to the books consistently. They want to see, your arm-waving targets realized. And there's a temptation to get distracted. Once you start the mine, then you got to feed the mine. What if an area disappoints? So I guess I'm inviting you to make a solid case for how you're going to turn the small trickle of initial cash flow into much bigger share price gains for shareholders.
Well, basically, right now our share price is pretty dismal, basically. So I mean, it's all upsides, I would say. But at the same time, we have, again, that's my fault because I'm not ever run a public company. I didn't understand telling I know everything, but it's more winking in the dark at a beautiful blonde. No one else knows what I'm doing. So we just started trying to change that. So hopefully with more information out there, our share price will be more valued fairly than it is right now. But the same thing, going back to your question, bringing the cash flow up faster. I mean, I don't know that you can bring it up much faster than I'm talking about anyway. The idea is to drill out in Sangihe. I'm hoping a couple million ounces by the time we finish. Basically, at the same time, sulfides, even on the initial test, we were still able to get recovery in the 70s, which is not what you want, but basically it's a good start. So, with the price of gold having gone up quite a bit, sulfides more likely will be profitable. But just focus on the oxides for quick cash and being able to basically bring in quick and very good margins. I believe basically if we have $50 million a year of free cash flow. At our current, basically that still get us up, probably $2 or $3 a share, based on, and then so we have $2 or $3 a share compared to today's price. I think shareholders would be pretty happy with that kind of a gain. At the same time, we'd have the 2 million ounces. I expect about 800,000 of those ounces will basically be oxides. Okay, so basically, which basically gives us around, hopefully around 10 years of mine life without, then we can work on the sulfides. And we have time to basically build up a good sulfide machine to make to process them correctly. And at these prices, we might not have the same margin, but we'd be able to maybe raise the amount of production to basically keep still cash flow and profits at the same level.
Okay, so the plan is get to cash flow on the sweet spot that's right near surface, expand that, use that to look for more, and then when you have a much more going concern there, then tackle the bigger sulfide question mark.
Sulfide question is 10 years from now. And basically when we start, and we got 10 years to work that out. And also, I mean, from what my geologist, Frank, told me down south, he said he'll guarantee at least another million, and there's probably a lot more than that. Okay?
I don't think that's a 43-101 compliance statement. You at least have to wave your arms when you say it'll be this big.
No, anyway, so but again, I've been running all this over this property and also properties like this down there. My area had a few illegals, nothing like I got. And so I see just so many, and I keep going finding new places where I didn't know we might have some gold. Also, just the sluice boxes they've been using, they've been doing this for 30 years. They're going to physical stuff. A lot of our stuff you can't see. We're running through the heap leach pad.
Right.
Well, our intention is to go dredge out that river. Because we're pretty sure that where those sluice boxes basically, the tailings are, we're going to find some really good returns off of that. And so there's a lot of other ways here to just bring that up and throw that on the heap leach.
All right. So actually, while we're on the subject of the illegals and the people situation, what is the coronavirus situation in Indonesia? Can you even work there? Is there potential? I mean, the illegals aren't going to care, but as a public company, you can be shut down. What's it like on the ground there right now?
Well, right now we're just working on finishing off the license, so we're not really working on production yet or construction even. So we're getting pre-construction. In the area of North Sulawesi, they have officially 10 cases, but Indonesia has just realized what everyone else has realized there's going to be a problem, so they've now made it difficult to travel. It's hard to get between the islands now, much harder than before, at least by plane. I should assume by boat also. They basically are encouraging everyone, such as all the people in the mining department, which we deal with, they're out working at home. So you can get a hold of people easier than you could before, which is nice. But at the same time, internet doesn't work the same way there as it does, or as cleanly there in Indonesia as it does in the rest of like Seattle or down in Puerto Rico probably. So it depends where you are in Jakarta, if you have decent internet. If we're outside in the provinces, it's very difficult. You might work on cell phone, on a cell phone or a smartphone a little bit, but you're going to have a hard time doing what you and I are doing here right now.
Right. All right. So, I mean, yeah, of course we're not talking about production yet, but you don't have exploration crews in the field right now, so logistically this isn't really affecting you right now?
It's not affecting us all right now. Basically, we have one meeting for our environmental license, which is the last check we have before we have to pay the taxes that we get a license. And actually may improve it because there may be a possibility they'll let us hold the meeting without having a meeting. So I'm finding the coronavirus, people are getting very creative to basically keep moving things forward. So, but yeah, that's the only thing that would affect us is just one of the meetings that we're supposed to hold a public meeting may be delayed until this, or again they're talking about possibly letting us have the meeting without actually having the meeting.
All right. So you mentioned the cows before. Why don't you, if you don't mind, quickly, if you can, explain to our readers what the commitment works are. I mean, Indonesia is famous for its mineral endowment, but not necessarily for the transparency of miners' relationships with the government.
Right. I mean, basically, I live in Indonesia most of the time, and basically, if you're there running things, working things, closely, it's actually easier than a lot of other countries. Mainly, again, it's personal relationships, though. It's really, you got to know the people, and you got to really be able to work with them closely, and they're very flexible. And that flexibility sometimes is an issue, but it basically back in the 90s they were using contract of works. They only issued maybe 10 a year, and that's all the only mining license really was a contract of works. We have a contract directly with the government, which was great, and they were very enforceable. Unfortunately, the government found people sued them when they didn't, keep their end, so they didn't like them very much, and they changed them out to what was called a KP, and then in 2009, what's called the IUP, which is the current mining license that they're using now, and it's actual license, not a contract. So, contract of works give you a lot more benefits, including being much more fair between you and the government than the IUP. So contract of works, once we have this license completed, we'll have 30 years of mining under the contract of works. And so we will have to cut our size down 25,000 hectares from our 42,000 hectares as our final. But the thing is, we only have 24,000 hectares of gold-bearing land, so we have no problem with that. And actually, you pay what's called a mining tax on every hectare you're holding anyway. So to have extra hectares is really counterproductive. You're not going to put them into mining.
All right. Okay. So you have a contract to work because this was established before the changes in law, and so that contract
yes,
is still in force.
1997 was originally a contract over 1997.
And the 30 years is not from 1997; it's from when you start mining.
Yes, and hopefully that's when you start production. Once we get the production license, which we hope to have, like I said, we only have this one meeting, and then we have to pay the taxes, and then we've got the license, and then it's 30 years from that date.
All right. So in terms of specific deliverables, your intention is with this to go ahead and look for project finance and build the first stage of the mine, or are we still exploring this year, or what are the actual deliverables for shareholders in 2020?
Deliverables are to complete the license. Hopefully, once our funding goes through, we'll do a couple of tranches of funding to get the license completed. Then once the license is completed, then raising money to put the first phase of construction into place. And that will basically building a 50,000-ton leach pad, infrastructure, and we'll start with artisanal processing. A second phase will basically put in a Merrill-Crowe plant, and it'll get us up to 1,000 ounce a month processing.
All right. So pretty much you're very focused on getting the cash flow ASAP. That is the number one priority right now. Is that correct?
You don't go broke with cash flow. I like about cash flow because basically, other juniors, they finish drilling, and as soon as they can't raise money, they're broke. I've always been an operations guy. I've never been broke, and I don't like the prospects of going broke. So cash flow to me, it gives us more flexibility. It gives us more. We're a less risky venture that way, I believe. Where your junior going out to drill, if they find something, the market's not right, they're having a hard time surviving. With cash flow, you don't have that issue.
Well, I love cash flow. Obviously, lots of free cash flow is not how you go broke, but I have seen plenty of small miners go broke building a mine without a full bankable feasibility study and then discovering, oops, the ground conditions aren't what we thought they were, or oops, there's something in the metallurgy we didn't expect. And then the mine's there, but the cash flow isn't.
Well, we've done the metallurgy. We've already done that basically. So we're pretty. Also, this is the same exact. Okay, this ground is actually part of a gold reef between Mindanao and North Sulawesi. It's made up of about 20 volcanoes. This is where the gold came up several million years ago. We have actually on Sangihe 3 volcanoes. One which is an active volcano up north, which is not on our land. That's another extinct volcano on our land, but also where the gold came up, a collapsed caldera. And it'd be the same land, the same type of product I was working on down in North Sulawesi, where I took is the same exact product I'm working here. Actually, at that time I didn't have. We had trenching. That was the only number we had from trenching. We had no drill holes. We didn't really do mineralogy. But if you look around there was just heap leach pads everywhere. It wasn't hard to tell. So this area has been worked quite a few, for years by the illegals. At the same time, it's the same material. We've done testing. It's the same material. There's really no difference. And it's the same material we've been working up at Mindanao. And there's there's probably 5 or 6 large mines in North Sulawesi doing 100,000 ounces. A year. It's all based on the same material. So this is not really going out there and exploring new worlds.
Okay, but if I can jump in, it seems like what you're saying to shareholders is, I've done this before. I know what I'm doing. Trust me, this will make money. Is that fair?
Yeah. I mean, basically, I fortunately have shareholders. My idea wasn't having shareholders. Basically, if I did it the way I wanted to do, we wouldn't have to basically I wouldn't be raising money this way. But again, it's new world for me. I'm learning new skills. Not the mining. The mining side is the easy part. This is the more interesting part is learning how the public companies work and trying to we have great shareholders. I love my shareholders, by the way. We've got really good people. Now they're very supportive.
All 3 of them now.
What's that?
I was joking. All 3 of them that are left.
All 3 of them. Of course, we got 4 now. No, basically, but no, I do try. I mean, I enjoy. I'm a very social person, so I enjoy talking to them. Basically, if they have questions, I want to, answer questions. Any shareholder wants to talk to me, especially if you have enough shares. If you have 20 shares, not really sure, but if you anyone has 1 million shares, basically I'm going to talk to you anyway. But I want them to basically, as far as I'm concerned, they're my partners. They've taken the time to believe in us. I mean, they may stay for a short period of time, but I want these guys to make good money. Because basically, I mean, this company in the last year or so has had some, problems raising money, so I can put my own money in, and I put the money in, I take it as debt. I
was going to ask you that, but let's come back to that. You are raising money now, as I understand. There is a raise. So that's obviously not project finance at this stage. It's a small raise. What is the purpose of the capital you're raising now, and where does that get you, or where does that take the story to?
We're just trying, but basically we had another funding lined up before in January, and it was a company called Armu International Energy, and they were supposed to, out of Singapore, they were supposed to basically come in for about $5 million. But they delayed, and they're still delaying. So we decided, okay, well, we're not going to wait for them. We need to get the license finished. So this small funds allow us to get the meeting. I told you the Andal meeting done, the environmental report, and then so just keep moving things forward. We don't need a lot for that, so that gets us that report done. That's the last busy work for the check marks we need. Then we need to do another raise after that to pay off the taxes. The taxes are quite a bit. So get the taxes paid off, then we have all our financial responsibilities covered, and then we qualify to complete the license. Because the Indonesian feasibility studies done, all the other check marks have been completed.
All right. So if that $5 million does come in, how far does that get you into the engineering, or will there be another project finance raise?
I'll be in production.
That $5 million, if it comes through, will get you in production. So this is not just a keep the lights on financing now. It's a tick off the final boxes so that we're ready to get into construction.
Yeah, they put this on hold because of all the coronavirus / share. So basically we're still in discussion with them on if they're still going to come in. So they keep delaying it. So we've decided to start another fundraising. So we'll do this fundraising, and then basically we'll set up probably another fundraising after this for the taxes. Once the license is completed, then we're looking at possibly a royalty deal to put the project into production.
All right.
Try to minimize. We've been trying to find ways to minimize dilution.
Understood. Assuming this is non-brokered and available to retail, what are the terms? What are you offering investors out there if they help you out?
Per unit, it's 3.5 cents. It's on a waiver. We got TSX allows us to sell 250,000 at 3.5 cents with a 6 cent warrant, and the 6 cent warrant also has an accelerator on it when you get to 12 cents. And if you trade it, I think it trades over 12 cents for 10 days, then you got 30 days. But so it's a unit 3.5 with a 6 cent warrant for 2 years.
So okay, full warrant 2 years.
Correct.
6 cents.
Correct.
Okay, all right, and that is open to retail? Is it open to U.S. persons?
It's open to retail, basically qualified investors.
All right, so just call the number on your website?
Call the number on the website, and then they'll be referred to our IR company, who will help them get organized.
All right, and how much of your own money are you putting into this?
I've already put about $500,000 of my own money into this company, so I'm still putting in money. Basically, to one point I stopped putting my own cash in to start selling shares off, and then the shares have basically been used to put money into the company, support the company, then take it back as debt. I don't want to lose my position. So basically, and I'm actually trying to get more shares. So basically, no, the only way I'm going to make money on this is usually I own the entire company. So it's like either I make all the money or I lose all the money. But I tend to do pretty good at making it. But I've got to basically build my position up differently here. I was promised shares when it came in, my work with Tocqueville, so those are still coming in. So but also I've ended up not unintentionally, but buying more shares. And again, it's not a bad deal. I mean, to me, I get shares at 5 cents, but I expect this to be $1 once we get ourselves in production. So
you're supposed to wave your arms when you say that too. It'll be this high.
Okay. That's why I'm shooting for it.
There you go. Okay. Well, I get it. This is not your typical story. I appreciate you sitting still for some pretty tough questions there. I had more questions about what went wrong at Miwah and so on, but since you weren't there, heads have rolled, prices have been paid. I think we can put that behind us, and just wish you luck. Thank you for talking with us today, and let us know how it goes.
I will, and anytime you'd like to get an update, please give me a call.
Will do. All right, have a good one.
Take care.
Stay healthy and stay safe.
You too.